So anyway, without any further ado, the first match we're going to be watching from WrestleMania 26, which originally aired on March 28th, 2010, meaning it's celebrating just celebrated its 15th anniversary, is Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes, Ted DiBiase Jr., the former Legacy, coming up in 3, 2, 1, play. I hope I remember to turn the audio down. I did. See that big pyramid set up there? I have no memory of that. Like I said, I know we watched this show. We even went so far as to, I listed all the matches and passed out papers to everyone in the house so we could all make our predictions about who was going to win each match. And this elaborate setup here, I remember setups like this, but I don't remember this one. I remember one from like the year Ray won the World Championship and he like made his entrance starting up at the top of it. I don't remember this setup at all, which just blows my mind.
Yeah.
The first competitor coming out here is Ted DiBiase Jr., obviously the son of Ted DiBiase.
Yes.
Third generation wrestler because Ted DiBiase's father and mother, I believe, were both professional wrestlers.
Interesting.
This was at a time when they had a group called Legacy where all the members were second and third generation wrestlers. Randy Orton and Ted DiBiase Jr. both being third generation wrestlers. Cody Rhodes being second generation wrestler. And I guess this was after they split up since they're wrestling each other.
That makes sense.
But just diving back in the history of Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes, which has been alluded to a lot in recent television programming. You were going to say something?
No.
Oh, okay. And there's the young man.
Oh my gosh.
The son of the American Dream, the son of the plumber. The current WWE World, or what is it, the Undisputed Universal Champion or Undisputed World Champion.
Okay, obviously he looks like himself, but the hair, it hardly looks like him.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure that's his natural hair color.
Probably.
I think he just dyes it in tribute to his dad.
I feel as though the lighter hair kind of looks better for him.
Well, we're definitely more used to it. I always thought Cody had kind of a... I don't want to say this the wrong way, but some people have unique bodies. It doesn't mean it looks bad, but it doesn't look like most people who are muscular and whatnot. You know, there's a general, I don't know what the word is, but you see a lot of people who have, big muscular bodies. They all look relatively similar, but it's unique to them. But Cody always had kind of a unique shape to his. But somebody like Rick Rude was another guy who had kind of a unique build amongst bodybuilders. And there's Orton, who was... He's definitely smaller than he is now, but he's bigger than he was when he started, which we're going to see when we watch WrestleMania 21 on the next episode.
He looks less defined than he could.
He's not as cut, he's not as big either. And he's going to be even smaller when we watch him on WrestleMania 21, and he'll have less tattoos back then, too. Unfortunately, he doesn't have that one tattoo right under his pec that I can't stand that just looks like a scar. I don't know if it was to cover up a scar or something, which is clever enough, I guess, but it bugs me.
I'm not sure.
I think Cody looks better with the long tights that he wears now instead of the trunks, too. And Cody I didn't like the boots Cody wore, as far as, talking about ring gear. Some people have really cool boots, some people just have, average boots, and I didn't like Cody's boots back then.
Randy Orton looks extremely young there, compared to now.
Well, he's 15 years younger than he is now. I don't know Randy Orton's exact age. I know he was in the Marines before he started wrestling, so he probably started wrestling in his early 20s. And I know he'd been wrestling since about 2002 at this point. So this is 2000. I'm saying he's probably early 30s at this point, maybe 30, 31.
That's a little bit crazy.
Which would, again, it's 15 years younger than whatever he is now.
Randy Orton is currently 44 years old, turning 45 very soon. What date does this podcast go on?
This podcast goes up on the 30th.
Okay, so a couple days before his birthday.
And this would have been a couple days before his birthday as well then, so he's probably 29 at this point.
Nice.
If my math is correct, and I heard you correct. I'm assuming this is a triple threat match, which means all three men in the ring at the same time. No disqualifications, no countouts. First pinfall or submission wins. And I could look and see who won. I don't remember. Like I say, I watched it live. I don't even know what my prediction was at the time. And like I said, I don't even know whose... Legacy was a heel faction. But now they've split up. I don't know if they all remained heels. The fact that Cody and DiBiase are going up against Orton makes me feel like either they're both baby faces now and he turned on them, or they turned on him and they're both heels. I think Cody was mostly a heel in his WWF runs. WWE. Look, I'm sorry. I'm from the WWF era. I'm going to call it WWF probably most of the time. But in most of his runs with the company before he left to go on the independent circuit and then start AEW and then would come back, of course, he was a heel. I think during his run as Stardust, he was primarily a babyface. Definitely wasn't like a hardcore heel. Yeah. But most of the times I remember seeing Cody. And like I say, we definitely... Has he got Triforces on his... He does. Maybe because there was three of them. He's got red Triforces on his boots.
Okay.
Look at that. There's no doubt about it. That is the Triforce.
Nice.
I guess because there was 3 of them in the faction, he had that signage on his boots. But, well, I mean, I don't think you can necessarily trademark 3. Plus, it's not gold like the Triforce is.
I guess.
But, yeah, that's undoubtedly. Hell, the Lego, Black Storm, there's a Lego series of like the bad guys in the space series.
Yeah.
It's black something, and they have like an upside down yellow Triforce as their logo.
I was going to say, talking about the ages and Cody and whatnot, in this match, he is the age I'm about to be.
All right.
He would have been 24 years old here.
I would say you might as well share it because if anybody cares that much, they can just look it up. How old was Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 26?
Yeah. I did not look up the other guy.
Of course, every match we're going to be watching on this episode, as well as a lot of the matches we're going to be watching next week, prominently feature wrestlers who are, well, prominently featured on current WWE programming and will feature prominently on the upcoming WrestleMania 41, which, again, will be the 40th anniversary of WrestleMania.
Nice. Ted Dibiase Jr. is currently 42 years old. All of them have birthdays coming up later.
So Cody was the youngster in the group.
Yes.
Still would be if they were together, but he's the younger of the 3.
Not terribly far apart in age, but yeah, definitely the youngest. He's 5 years younger than Randy. 3 years younger than the other guy, Ted.
Yeah. About that anyway.
Yeah, something like that.
Of course, Cody's father, the legendary Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, multi-time NWA World Champion, legendary wrestler. Randy's father was Bob Orton Jr., tag team champion, probably held regional titles as well. He was never a world champion in a national company. And his grandfather was the original Bob Orton. So he goes back 3 generations. And like I said, Ted DiBiase Jr., his father was Ted DiBiase. Probably best known as the $1 Million Man.
Yeah.
For his run in the 80s and 90s in the WWF. But he's one of the wrestlers who would be on the short list of greatest wrestlers to never hold a world title. Had a big run in Bill Watts' Mid-South organization. Also wrestled in Japan fairly extensively early in his career. And his father was Iron Mike DiBiase, who I believe died in the ring. I do think that Iron Mike wasn't his biological father. Maybe he was adopted. But for all intents and purposes, Iron Mike was his father. And I think his mother, oh my gosh, whose name escapes me, Helen something, I believe. She was also a professional wrestler. Okay. Not under the name DiBiase, though. That's why I can't remember what her name is. Speaking of Ted DiBiase, would be Ted DiBiase Jr.'s grandmother.
Yeah.
And of course, Cody's half-brother Dustin, a pretty well-known professional wrestler as well. Wrestled as Goldust for a lot of his career in the WWF. Cody's going for a moonsault here. Nope. He said, "Hey Ted, you're not gonna take my pin? What's up with that, pal?"
What year was this again?
2010. I mean, no title on the line here or anything. I mean, if you both have a grudge with Randy, shouldn't the point just be to beat him up? Does it matter who actually beats him? I guess the winner's purse. You win the match, you get the bigger share of the money.
Yeah.
Cody's tights are very University of Texas themed. Not necessarily intentionally, but that's what I think of when I see that color.
That's fair. I'm reading Wikipedia pages over here.
Double A takedown by Cody. Cody, the current, as I say, I think it's officially the undisputed WWF champion.
I don't know if those colors work for him.
What? Who? Cody?
Yeah.
I think if he had better boots,
maybe.
It'd be all right. I very much Texas Longhorn, University of Texas vibes, which
his
I don't think Cody went to the University of Texas, so
since this.
Best of my knowledge, Cody's always been announced from Georgia, so having come along in the days when his dad was the booker and one of the major stars for Jim Crockett Promotions. And Ted DiBiase Jr. has been eliminated from the Royal Rumble. Not actually. Randy firing up.
Reading this, DiBiase did die in the ring, July 2nd, 1969, after a heart attack. But he was pronounced dead.
What was his wife's name?
His wife's name?
It was Helen something, wasn't it?
Helen Hild.
There you go. Couldn't remember the last name, but I at least got the first name. And as far as I know, she was a professional wrestler as well. I think Randy...
Yes, and a model.
I think Randy's going to be facing Kevin Owens at WrestleMania, and of course Cody's going to be fighting against John Cena, who we'll talk about a little more later, I think. But how you feel about just Cody in general and the run he's had?
I like Cody.
Of course, after a number of stilted runs in the ill-fated Stardust gimmick, left the WWF, went to seek his fortune, became NWA champion, wrestled in Japan with the Bullet Club, wrestled in TNA, Ring of Honor, and ended up helping start AEW, where he had a couple-year run, then came back to the WWF as like the prodigal son returning. Failed to finish this through at WrestleMania 39, which was a pretty big shock, but finally did so at WrestleMania 40 and has held the title ever since. And I mean, considering the current model, I wouldn't expect him to lose that title anytime soon.
Yeah.
Like, they don't really need to hot-shot a title switch to pop a rating or a buy rate or anything. So this seems to be the era of longer title reigns, or maybe the other title gets switched back a little bit. But this title, you got it on the right guy, and the right guy was Roman, and now is Cody. I don't expect him to lose that belt anytime soon. So I'm saying I'd be surprised if John Cena wins the 17th championship, at least right now.
Yeah.
But then again, I was surprised when Cody didn't win it 2 years ago, so who knows?
Yeah, that's fair.
I do wonder sometimes if I'll be watching long enough to see Cody actually lose the title, because I'm not crazy about some of the directions that the current World Wrestling Federation, World Wrestling Entertainment is heading in.
I'm sorry.
Well, they just seem to like the platform. They seem to really be leaning into the current administration, let's just say that. I mean, we've always known that Vince was friendly with Trump, and Trump's done some stuff with the WWF before. And, of course, Lyndon McMahon is the new Secretary of Education. Not sure what she did to qualify for that other than be friends with Trump, but it just seems like they like the platform pro-Trump acts like Hulk Hogan and The Undertaker and Pat McAfee and even The Rock to a lesser degree.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, their continued association with another dictatorship, even if not in name, with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And now the whole Royal Rumble's going over there next year, which I've already said I have no plans to watch it. And the latest thing I've heard is that one comedian whose name I don't know and don't care to learn, who said those horribly offensive Puerto Rican jokes during Trump's campaign, is now hosting a WrestleMania roast for the WWE over WrestleMania weekend. So
interesting.
It's like, and there's Orton hitting the punk kick on Cody.
Yeah.
Getting back to the actual match, but I'm trying to be a modern wrestling fan. I'm not as big a fan as I used to be, but I'm still a fan. But
yeah,
depending on how, and I know there's other wrestling out there besides the WWF. I'm not trying to suggest that WWE is the only game in town, but they're clearly the biggest, and they have their hands in a lot of wrestling.
Absolutely.
And that one's over.
Wow.
Randy Orton he hit the punt on Cody Rhodes, which is the move he's been trying to hit Owens with, but Owens keeps escaping, and then he hit the RKO on Ted DiBiase Jr. to finish that match out.
Alright. Also, I was reading more about Ted DiBiase, and you were correct, his father was his adoptive father.
Dan Deerdorf, offensive lineman for the Phoenix Cardinals, now the Arizona Cardinals. Well, they're not even Arizona anymore. They moved to... Are they still in Arizona?
I have no
Where did
idea.
they move? They were the St. Louis Cardinals. I'm sorry. Then they moved to Arizona to become the Phoenix Cardinals. Now they're just the Arizona Cardinals.
Ah.
I have Dan Deerdorf's autograph.
Nice.
Yeah, I wrote to him when he was the one of the commentators in the Monday Night Football trio.
Nice.
They're the Arizona Football Stadium for this event as Randy Orton plays the crowd. I do like that screen behind him. That looks cool. I guess it can raise and lower because that would have really been in the way.
Yeah.
It was there when they were roughing. I'm going to show the replay really quickly. Here's when he hit the punt on Cody. And then Ted DiBiase Jr. came in, tried to lock in the $1 Million Dream, his father's finishing hold. Orton with a nice kind of judo throw and then the RKO to finish it off. Referee with the gloves on, too, even though nobody was bleeding. That's interesting. Counts the 1, 2, 3,
Just in
and
case.
Randy gets a win. One of many in his career at WrestleMania.